The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good day, Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Ayana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert, and we want to thank you for getting up bright and early with us on this Monday morning. If you haven't already, please take a minute to share this episode wherever you're watching. And if you know someone that usually watches on Twitter, let them know that for whatever reason, Mercury retrograde is doing its thing. So it's not live on Twitter at the moment. So do just remind them to hop over to either Facebook or YouTube to join in the conversation. Jack, how are you feeling this morning?
I feel good. I do.
That is awesome. And good morning to you, Sean Smith. Thank you so much for joining us over there on YouTube. As I mentioned, if you know anyone that watches on Twitter, please share the link with them because reasons. It's not working on Twitter this morning, and we're just going to keep it moving because we have an exciting conversation. We are actually bringing back the chairman of the Road Safety Council, Dennis III. He is backstage and ready to share with us some road safety tips that we all can begin to incorporate in our driving and riding habits on the island of Bermuda. And even if you're not on the island of Bermuda, I'm pretty sure these tips are going to help you wherever you are in the world. So do make sure you stick around for that. Our feel good vibe, of the day is joke time with Jackie. And as you know, if you want to get a laugh started for your morning, stick around for Jackie's corny dad jokes because they're premium. They are the best.
Top tier.
They are the toppest tier. And see that kind of leads into part of today's Feel Good warm up. We're talking about shameless promotion of oneself because for those of you that don't know, spoiler alert, I do have a finance show that is coming out on channel 82, and it took me seeing other people to post it online and share it in group tests that I'm a part of to finally promote myself. So the question of the day is, have you found it challenging to shamelessly promote yourself, your business, or your work before? Because prime example, I definitely did have a little struggle with that. And Jackie was like, what? She was really upset that it kind of just like popped up.
I was. So she had mentioned something about channel 82, but she never really gave too many details. Terri.
I didn't.
And then in our group chat between the Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda, I see a post coming in from Sherry Vanderpool. I'm like, oh, what's this? And then I look at it, and it's my gorgeous co-host having a show to help millennials with their finances. And I'm just like, sis, why haven't we been posting this all over Good Day Bermuda? Why haven't we talked about it on Good Day Bermuda? Like what? Like what remember we used to say, what's the dealio?
It was
what's the dealio, Joe?
I don't know. I feel like this is my favorite emoji, to be honest. I do this emoji all the time, and I actually do it in real life. So that one is definitely my frustrated one, and this is my my cute. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah. But I mean, I guess for me, it's one of those things because it's like, and I don't know if anyone else experiences this as well, but like when you start to do something, you're so into it and you're like working through all of the pieces, and because it's a part of your daily thought process, you think you share it with other people, or like, yeah, they have to know about it. I must have talked about it in some type of conversation. And then you get Jackie like with the shocked face, like,
I mean, I get it. I do get it. But Terry's usually one that's just like, why don't you promote? Why don't you do that?
I am.
Like, hold on, cattle.
Kettle and black.
Even with tennis, I don't promote myself. People usually come to me and I'm just like, oh, well, where exactly are you located? And if they say Stamford, I'm like, oh, well, these are the people you should go to. It's closer to home, or X, Y, and Z. Or I have people like my dad or my older sister that will be like, oh, Jack's great at doing this. Jack, if you want to work on this stroke or blah, 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 go to Jack. And I'm just like, okay.
See, so it's not just me, and it looks like Monica Dunstan finds it extremely challenging as well. And Monica, can you share, like, what you find challenging about it? Because I do feel like, and it could be a millennials thing. I'm not sure if Monica is a part of the millennials generation, but I do know that millennials, I personally think we find it challenging to shamelessly promote ourselves because we've had so many negative connotations given to our generation. To arrogant, ungrateful, feeling entitled. It's kind of like, so it does, I feel like, so promotion of self feels, I don't want to do that. I don't want them to think that I'm being cocky or I'm trying to boast the fact that I talk about these things, because I'm not a financial guru. I'm not an expert. I'm actually not even someone who has all of her finances, quote unquote, in proper order. I'm still learning as I go through the journey. Jacky and I talk offline a lot about finances. So it's not like, I have the magic sauce to the whole finance conversation. I just think that we should talk about it more. That way we can learn from each other, because I'm pretty sure Jacky approaches money differently from me that could benefit me in a way that I never thought about. And so it takes having someone to talk to about it.
I am an example of what not to do.
And
don't get excited and buy everybody a drink. Don't get excited and say, or frustrated and be like, I'll just pay for dinner. Just leave it. Just leave it.
Just leave it. Forget it. You didn't plan properly. It's fine. Sean Smith says, I feel you, Terri. I used to find it easier to big up someone else instead of myself. It is so much easier to give Jacky her flowers when it comes to tennis. I had my second tennis session on Saturday going, and it was like the best session ever. It ended on like the most positive note, despite there being a bunch of rain, despite there being a bunch of wind. My partner and I, we had like a good back and forth session because we were having a little, finding our groove. And it's not like we're supposed to be like, well, we weren't competing against each other. So we weren't trying to like get points. One of the tasks we were trying to do was like, have the ball go between us 10 times, like 10 hits before, it finally went out, if it went out. And I feel like we exceeded it on our last.
I was so excited. I can't even hold my smile. Usually I'm just like, no, I'm just like cheesing. It was such a good session. Like I try to remind people that tennis is not an easy sport.
Mm-hmm.
When you accomplish the little things that I'm asking you to do, I get 10 balls across the net with your partner. That's not easy. There are some people that are great that used to struggle with that, and 10 is a doable number, but it's not the easiest. Most people get to 5 and 7, and 10's hard. But you guys did it like in 2 tries.
We did. So the first time I was like, okay, I was like to my partner, let's try 5. I feel like 10's that's a little far for us right now, because we kept getting like 1 or 2 and then we just stopped. It'll just go out or something like that. So let's try 5. And then we exceeded 5. So then I knew he was ready for the 10. And then we worked it over. So I want to come back to the comments. Monica Dunstan says, self-promotion is hard because I think I have imposter syndrome. This generation, I feel like we struggle with imposter syndrome a little bit more than any other generation. I feel like Gen Z don't even know what imposter syndrome is. Like they have no idea what an imposter is. And I feel like the generation above us kind of gave us that energy around imposter, because like, oh, you don't have experience, so you can't know what this is. So you shouldn't be able to speak on it. And so I think that kind of lends itself to why we become like that, like why self-promotion is a bad thing. She goes on to say, even when it comes to getting credit for things I do at work, I'll let my boss think someone else did the work, even if I did 90% of the project. Now sis, you can't do that. That's a no-no, because they don't deserve the credit. You did all that work.
I've been on both sides of that. Oh my God. And I've been on the other side where they're just like, oh, Jack did all the work. And I'm like, no, I didn't.
But see, you would easily.
Don't do that. You did a lot of it. You're taking the credit 2 reasons. Because one, don't ask me to do the stuff that you did, because he's gonna come back or she's gonna come back and say, like, no, because I'm not trying to call you to help me when it wasn't me in the first place.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna look at you real confused, like, hey Jack, what you did when I did what? That was not me, that was Terry. I don't know what Terry told you, but she's a liar.
She would absolutely call someone out for being a liar, like absolutely.
You did it, take the credit. And if you are too shy to say it, I may be too shy to take the claim for myself, but I am not too shy to make sure that somebody gets the credit when they're supposed to get it. I am not. Nope. You will get the credit. And if somebody tries to claim it in front of me, no full well, you are brave, is what I say. You are brave. You know you did not do all that. I will embarrass you. So don't.
I know you will, and that's the funny part about it. So it looks like Michael Anthony Watson is in support of the Tuku tennis. Yes, I think we have, me and my partner have another session. We're doing like an extra section between the two of us. So we're going to be playing again on Saturday, and then she's trying to do another session with a potential additional person to it. So I might be doing that, but we'll see. Listen, we got time. It's like 2 weeks out, so we got time. We got time. So Monica Dunstan says, I think being humble has been hammered into our brains since young as well. And that's true. So you kind of just like quiet as a mouse, just like, all right, I'll just do the work. And if someone sees it, great. If they don't, it's fine. I'm being humble.
That's one thing I didn't get from my dad. I got it from my mom. My mom was like, oh, when you're arrogant, that's your dad. When you're humble, that's me. Because like I've won a lot of the competitions over at Coral Beach, and he'd introduce me and be like, oh, you remember at Coral Beach? Go to the awards room and look at the plaques and you'll see Jack's name all up and down that place. And I'm like, Dad, stop. Please stop. He's like, yes. And I'm like, stop. It's embarrassing. Like, yep, okay.
He is proud of his daughters. I love it. I absolutely love it. Last comment before we get to our first commercial break. Sean Smith says, when you start a business, your bank account reflects how many people you ask. So you have to self-promote or go broke. That is a great way to end this conversation, because yes, at the end of the day, if you are relying on building some revenue from anything that you do, whether it's self-promotion or even at work, your bank account will reflect it. And so on that note, we're going to take our first commercial break, and then we'll be back with our guest of the day, which is the chairman of the Road Safety Council, Dennis Lister III, is backstage, and we are ready to share some road safety tips with you all. So please make sure you do not go anywhere. Jackie and I will be right back.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. And if you're just joining us, we're getting ready for our feel-good topic of the day. We are talking about road safety, and some tips that we all can start to implement to have better driving and riding habits. So we are going to be welcoming back today's guest, Chairman Lister, to Good Day Bermuda. So go ahead and drop your favorite good morning emoji and the vehicle that you drive. So whether you drive a bike or a car, drop that in the chat as we welcome Dennis Lister into the conversation. Good morning, Mr. Lister.
Good morning, Terry. Good morning, Jackie, and good morning to your audience. Hope everyone is, having a good early start to this Monday morning.
Absolutely. So for those that maybe didn't get a chance to watch the first conversation we had with you, can you just let them know briefly what the Road Safety Council is and why it currently exists?
Well, the Bermuda Road Safety Council, we are a government board that is a statutory board, and so basically we bring recommendations or add suggestions to the Ministry of Transport on road safety matters, whether it's something to change legislation, whether it's it's a constant road issue that we have to bring to the matter of the Transport Ministry. So that's what the Road Safety Council is set up for. But what I'm also going to read is that we also have a vision and a mission statement. So that's what we are guided by. So our mission statement is to educate the public with effective tools to reduce collisions and road fatalities. And our vision statement is to create a safer road culture that promotes positive riding/driving practices creating smarter road users and saving lives. So that is what the Road Safety Council, that is what we are guided by every time we meet or when we have any promotions initiatives, we are guided by our mission and our vision statement. And I also just want to jump back to what you girls were talking about earlier in regards to when the finances and having a real conversation. And that's what I'm glad this platform or coming on your show is about. It's about engaging in conversation with the everyday motorists and the public. Because why I say that is because each person, when you get behind the wheel of a car, a truck, or you're on a bike, you in that time period, you make personal different decisions, choices that affect not only yourself, but others on the road around you. So when I say we have to have a real conversation, the real conversation has to be, why do people make certain choices while they're on our roads? Because we know that outside of the enforcement from the Bermuda Police Service, their job is to enforce anyone that breaks the rules. But what we see is that it's all too often now, whether it's people speeding at high speeds, whether it's people dangerously overtaking and just recklessly driving. Again, it has to come down to, we have to understand, because as with anything, you have to understand the problem to find a solution. And so the real conversation is, why do people, or why when people get in bikes and in cars, make these decisions? So that's why I want to, like I said, I just wanted to go back. It's having a real conversation. And again, this is a platform where we can have discussion. So it's not just me telling people about road safety, but I'm always open to hearing people's comments, because again, myself as the road safety chairman, but also the Road Safety Council, which is made up of 10 members, we don't have all the answers. So we're always open to hearing suggestions from the public, because everyone shares our road, so everyone has an idea of how they think, road safety can, or how they are affected in the road. And because everyone has an idea, we're able to listen and see how we can put those ideas to make a solution. So again, I'm glad for this platform and having this conversation. And as you said, I'll just start off by going back over some road safety tips. And I'm always
actually, I'm gonna pause you right there.
Okay.
And the reason why I want to pause you there is only because what you said, we talked about previously, like maybe a couple weeks ago. Not even a couple weeks, I lied. Last week we talked about the vision and mission statements of community clubs. And so when you brought that up, we're gonna probably go more into that conversation. Actually, let's just do it right now.
Okay.
So have you guys considered, like, okay, you just shared with us the mission and vision statement, but have you guys considered like including that particular message in your safe driving initiative? Like, how are you reminding us that that's your vision and mission statement? Because unless Jacky and I have this conversation with you, that's probably the only real time we even know what you guys are guided by. So how are you planning to maybe incorporate that more into even maybe some of your safety tips? Like, how are we going to get people to recognize that we're trying to change the culture by way of positive messaging?
And that's a very good question. And what I will say is definitely that we can always do better. I would never say that, we've done the best that we can, because we can always improve and do better. And that's a good suggestion. We have had in the past, we've had statements where we've mentioned it, but from your suggestion that it would do even better for us to actually build, whether it's PSAs or a whole campaign around our vision and mission statement. Because that way, one, you get the buy-in from the public, because they're also now able to understand what our mission is and what we are trying to achieve. So you get the buy-in from them. And then also with all of our road safety messages that we put out, again, it's buy-in, because they're now just they're understanding what we're trying to achieve. And then on the other hand, they're receiving the information to help them make road users better drivers by making better decisions. So as I said, we can always improve. And so this year we will have to do more to promote our vision and mission statement, so that we can get the community as a whole to buy into road safety and how we can make our roads safer for everyone.
Love that.
We talked about subliminal messaging. Sorry, Terry.
You're fine.
About subliminal messages. I know sometimes you have the posters posted up different places, but do you see yourself maybe trying to get those messages, I know, like even on East Broadway, you have the little signage that says "Drive safely." It's the prompter that constantly goes, but you only really see that on East Broadway. Where else are you going to put those messages? So as you're driving, you're kind of reminding people that it's not just you on the road. Because, for example, I think it was yesterday or Saturday, I'm driving and I hear this bike and I'm like, but I don't see it. And next thing you know, it's literally driving down the center, the third on the line, cutting through. And all I can think about is not just them and what will happen to them if they get into an accident, but what could happen to the next person that they may hit. Or if there's a child in the car, so now they're traumatized from seeing it. But what is your actual execution going to look like?
Okay, so I thank you for that also. The machine that you're talking about is called the dot matrix machine. That actually, as the road safety council, we have members from different government departments. So we have members from the police service, the fire service, the paramedics, well, EMTs. There's also representatives from different Ministry of Works, the roads policing, the roads unit division. So we have representatives, and so fortunately, that machine comes under the Ministry of Public Works. So the roads unit, the head of the roads division in Public Works, he's actually been fortunate enough as a member of the council to allow us to borrow that machine when it's needed. Unfortunately, there's only 2 of those machines on the island. And for different reasons, sometimes there's only been 1 working at a time. So because of that, we have to select which locations that we would like to put the machines in. The most popular ones are definitely Barnes Corner, East Broadway in the central areas. Also, there's Barker's Hill on North Shore, that roundabout, and then on the east end. Right now, that machine is located in St. David's, just as you're coming across the police station in St. David. So unfortunately, we only have 1 machine. We would love to have more, but that's what we can work with right now. As you said, the machines, they are very helpful. They can be used we can set the message, whether it's, don't speed, or whether it's don't drink and drive, whatever we feel that time is the most important message. So we do utilize that machine when we can. And I at first I thought you were getting to putting up posters and stuff like that also. It's one reason why the Road Safety Council does stray away from trying to put up posters and things like that, is because, one, it is a road safety hazard. So a lot of times people don't think about that when you come around the East Broadway and you hit the roundabout and Crow Lane, and whether there's people on the roundabout, and, they have their home, if you whatever support this cause, you have people doing that. But a lot of people don't actually understand that that is a road safety hazard, because it's a distraction. It takes your mind and your focus from off of driving onto whatever that whatever that distraction is. So for the Road Safety Council, we try not to put as much posters and stuff like that on the sides of the road, because it is a distraction, and so we don't want to be playing a part in that. But we will do as much as we can outside of those limits to try and promote stuff. And one thing this year that we definitely have to step up our game on is, and it's also because of the times with COVID, we're not able to get out and do as much group events and physical events. So our focus for the last year and a half has been more social media and virtual events. But we do have to do more to step up our advertising and promotion of what we stand for, our mission statement, but also just putting out our information. Yes, in this day and age, the Road Safety Council, we are trying to stay as much as we can up with the trends on the different social media platforms and different trends. So that's also, I wouldn't say it's a challenge. It's just something that we have to try and stay on top of it, so that we can be proactive in putting our information out there, whether that's videos that we're working on, we're building content so that you can see more road safety, especially local content of road safety videos out there. We get to the point where you start seeing ads pop up on YouTube and things like that. So we want to try and be as visible as possible now, so that people can hear our message, understand what road safety is about, and how they can play their part to make our roads safer for everyone.
Okay. So as I'm listening to you, all I hear is budget, 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 because you said that. And that's one of Terry's favorite words. And I know you said that you're not able to do a lot of group and community work because of COVID, but it does sound like a great idea to when, you know, we're able to move a little bit more freely. I know we have the safe keys and the antigen tests that you can take to get into certain events. It would be nice to have community days spread out throughout the island. Whether it's for this month we're in Bernard's Park, next month we're down St. George's, whatever the case may be. It would be nice to have a fun day where you have the whole family out, and then you can make those presentations. You can have your people walk around and educate. You can have the booths just so people can be more aware of what's happening, not just throughout the island, but in their community as well, because it does hurt your community before it hurts the island. So to get those messages out. But what I am leading towards is, because I know it's a budget thing, are you guys considering maybe having an app that works with all the insurance companies, and then maybe those people that are good riders and drivers get rewards at the end of the year? I know that is something that is a nice incentive.
To start with your last point there, that's a discussion we've been having ongoing for about the last 2 years. We've done the initial engagement to reach out to the insurance companies to feel what the appetite is, and there is an appetite for it. And you know, whether it's a good drivers perks program, whatever you want to name it and call it, we do have a board member who is in the insurance industry, and he's leading that initiative to try and get to create as I said, a good drivers program. So we are in the middle of that. I can't put any dates to say it will probably be out there this time. I can't say that, but we are working on, because we understand too often in Bermuda, you're penalized for doing the wrong thing and not the right thing. So if we can, again, promote good driving, even highlight good drivers, and do all of this to push good driving, and then we can reward people. So it's an incentive. So it's an idea that, like, as I said, we have been discussing for a while, and we hope that in the near future we can bring something to the public and say, this is what we're working on, and you know, we can push this initiative. So we're not too far off of that idea, Jackie. So in the near future, you can probably look forward to seeing that coming out.
Love it.
Definitely love it. I actually want to switch gears a bit and kind of come back to talk about the fact that we have been working from home for probably over a year. I think we're going on to our second year of working from home, whether it's mandatory, recommended, etc. So going to the numbers, have you noticed a rise or decline in collisions during the last, I guess, iteration of the pandemic, or are we still on par and we still have to do more?
With that question, I do want to start off on a somber note. And as you know, last year, 2021, for the first time, I believe, in 2 decades, we recorded our highest number of road fatalities. And it's very, very sad. To ask what would be the contributing factors and why did we see our highest recorded fatalities in 20 years, I would say it has to do a lot with the different, and I would say, change in behaviors. I say change in behaviors because COVID has an effect on that. Whether it's one, we had curfews, we had lockdowns. Also, it could be the anxiety and stress of COVID, so that when people have gotten on our roads, whether it's a period where there's a curfew, and so people, it was, well, too many events in 2020 we saw where there were accidents, people trying to race to beat curfew. You know, if you were out partying up in Rangers and you stayed down in Crow, you know, you shouldn't be leaving home. If you know curfew is at 12 o'clock, you shouldn't be leaving home at leaving Rangers at 11:45. You should be leaving with enough time so that you don't have to race, because at that point, everyone's going to be racing home. So, like I said, it was changing behaviors forced to COVID. Also, again, the anxiety of stress, being, whether it's locked on and for whether it's 2 weeks, maybe it was a month, you know, the in and out phases and all, and then just the stress of having to deal with it. I think that has played an effect on people, because when they get on the roads, you know, their minds are maybe in a different space. So they're just driving a bit more or way more reckless than they would be. And so that's what I can say are some of the outside contributing factors to the normal speed and driving while intoxicated or driving while using a device. So what I can say is for 2022, that's why the Road Council, we have to step up our game. We don't want another year where we have a high amount of fatalities or collisions. I do just want to backtrack is that in leading into the time of COVID, so pre-2020, we were on a downward trend for our collisions and fatalities. So again, that was a sort of change in behavior because prior to we had seen people, the main problem was drinking and driving. But with the introduction of roadside sobriety checkpoints, we saw that behavior change. So we were on a good downward trend on both accidents and fatalities. But as I said, COVID 2021 was a different year for everyone. So we can only hope that this year, people have gotten used to now living with COVID. So hopefully the anxiety and stress that it brings, it comes down a bit, so people can sort of feel a bit less anxious. So, and that's not just in COVID; it's with life. It's rather anxious on the job, the different feelings that it brings. So hopefully we can see that on a downward trend. And people, the drinking and driving, I would say, is definitely still an issue, but we have seen a change in behavior of that. So I want to hopefully that's our hope for this year is that we see the trend in that staying positive, and overall overall nature of driving, speeding and reckless driving. We encourage people, and we're going to again see more of us out there pushing to slow down, drive with care and caution, and just overall general be safe, because there are many reasons why we should be safe. But number one is always because on the road you share with all other users. And as you said earlier, Jackie, getting in an accident is just not the single person. It impacts the other person. It impacts maybe other road users and also their family members. So keeping yourself safe, but also others safe, is our main message that we want to drive home, because it's about personal responsibility and the decisions and choices you make while you are driving or riding on our roads.
Brilliant.
Actually, and we talk about personal accountability all the time on this show, so we definitely love that you ended it on that point. So we actually do have like two comments from the audience that I wanted to bring in. One kind of relates to the program that we talked about when we were talking about the good driver. So Janae says in Canada they have very hefty fines for breaking road rules to discourage people from doing it. Also, in some instances, they would offer a 6-week mandatory safety course to get out of the fine. So I don't know if that's something that the council would consider, but I definitely think it might be a solution that could help those of us that are more seasoned drivers. Because I wanted to come in because the last time we had the conversation, Sean Smith brought this up, and I think we talked about it as well. I heard most of the collisions and road incidents happen with people over the age of 40. What strategy do you guys have in place to deal with that age bracket? So kind of including Janae's answer in that, and then possibly answering Sean's question as well.
Yes. Can you just remind me the first part of Janae's question? Because her and
the
Sean
hefty fines. Hefty fines, and then the 6-week mandatory safety course to get out of the fine.
So to address the first part of Janae's question is what we've found in the Road Safety Council is that the schedule of offenses. So when you break a traffic law, or you break an offense, there is a schedule and it's a course for every offense that you can break. Unfortunately, that schedule of offense is well over 50 years old. So a lot of the offenses, a lot of the fines or penalties for those offenses might not fit the crime today. And so a review was done maybe 2 years ago. However, the resolutions brought out of that review has not been brought forward yet. So just a quick example is if you are caught riding or driving without a license, it's $100 fine. What the review found again is that fine doesn't fit the crime. It should be increased. So across the board, most of the fines were increased to a set amount. Some are a bit more. As I said, it just hasn't been brought to legislation yet. That is something that outside of the Road Safety Council, that would be under the legal chambers. That's what they would have to pick that up from that point and take it from there to bring it to fruition. So we have noticed that the fines do not fit the penalties, so that's being worked on. And to the second part of Janae's question and also Sean's question, they sort of tying together is, yes, the two highest demographics for accidents are those over 40. The first is the 60 and older, and then it's the 50 to 60 range. And then it drops down to the 25 to 35 range. So to address that, as we've noticed, is that I call them first-time road users, so those that are 16 to 21. You just got your bike license at 16, you get your car license at 18. What we've noticed is that that demographic is probably, because they're just coming out of Project Ride and they're fresh learning the rules of the road, they are not the biggest offenders as those that are more mature and established. So what we found is that, and I think all of us here were all, I know myself, I'm in my mid 30s. That means I've been riding since I was 16. I've had a license for 20 years. Over that time period, there are certain practices that you might pick up, behaviors, good or bad. But if you, and in Bermuda, once you get that driver's license your first time, you don't have to go back to renew your license until you go 65, and then it's once every 3 years, I believe. So if you get your license at 18, between 18 and 65, technically you don't have to go back and retake any driver's courses. You just have your license, you just go pay and renew it every 10 years. You don't actually have to take a course. So what we're looking to introduce, and it's for mature drivers, expat drivers, even for people that have DUI and they lose their license off the road. What we're trying to incorporate is a mature driver's re-education course. And so if you're 55 years old, and let's say, again, you haven't had to take a driving course since you were 18, there are new practices and new things with driving and road safety that have come about in that time period. So it will be a voluntary program for mature drivers. But what we also do is if you're DUI and you're off the road, you can take this course to get your license back. Also with expats, a lot of time when you have foreign workers come here, they come from jurisdictions where they don't ride bikes as much as we do. They might just catch the train or subway, or they might be driving everywhere. So getting on a bike is not normal and it's new to them. And again, you just have to take a quick riding course. You pass it, you get your license. But there's still some other in-depth things that you might have to learn. So what we would like to do is for first-time road users, adults, as I said, mostly foreign workers, they can voluntarily again also come and take this course so they can understand better how to use a bike and also the road culture in Bermuda. So it's stuff that we have noticed, gaps and faults that we have noticed that we're trying to work on. So a lot of it isn't just happens one time. So it's a process we have to go through, but we are doing these to address those issues in Bermuda.
Great. I'm happy to hear that, because we definitely heard it's a bunch of incidents, collisions all the time, but then we don't see anything. So I'm glad to see that there's things that are being worked on that we can look forward to.
You're welcome.
Chairman Lister, thank you for joining us bright and early on this glorious Monday, and we look forward to having you back. But have an amazing day, and once again, thank you.
Thank you to you, ladies, and thank you to your audience. And again, I just hope everyone is safe in the safe journeys today. And remember, you share the roads with everyone. So our decisions we make not just impact us, but they impact all other road users around us. So stay safe, drive with care and caution, and slow down Bermuda.
Thank you. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then Jackie and I will be back with our Feel Good Vibe of the day, which is Joke Time with Jackie. And I think we're all ready to have a little laugh to get our week started and our day off to an amazing start. So Jack, let's take a quick break. Then we'll be right back.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pete's House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terry Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. If you're just joining us, we just wrapped up our conversation with the chairman of the Road Safety Council, Dennis Lister III. If you have any comments for him that you didn't get a chance to put into the conversation while he was here, feel free to drop them in the comments now. Let us know your thoughts on the conversation. Jackie and I are about to get into our Feel Good Vibe of the day, which is joke time with Jackie. I am excited. I look forward to Jackie's jokes each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So let's go, Jack. What you got for me?
Okay. Why did the child punch the bed?
Why did the child punch the bed? Couldn't go to sleep. I don't know.
His
Boogeyman.
mom told him to hit the hay.
Hit the hay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Which bird steals soap from the bath?
Which bird steals soap from the bath? A mockingbird. A jailbird.
Rubber ducky.
Ah!
You're the one.
That is hilarious.
Which vegetable needs a plumber?
What?
Which vegetable needed a plumber?
I have no idea. I do not know. Where's this joke going?
A leak.
Okay, yes.
Burning.
That is hilarious. As always, Jackie and I hope that today's Feel Good Vibe of the day has you ready to make it a great one. Thank you so much for watching and engaging with this episode of Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pete's House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terry Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust we'll see you tomorrow for more Feel Good conversations. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.